Hey everyone, Kirk here again at OptionAlpha.com, and in this video update I want to go through all the trades that we made on Tuesday, January 16th. As many of you guys know, and sorry that this is going out a little bit later, but I am actually in Mexico for the week on some work stuff. Actually not too much play actually involved at all, which is kind of depressing because the weather is fantastic here, but it is what it is. But it was a very busy day as far as trades go, as we are now one step closer to expiration. Obviously, with the long weekend, which we want to take advantage of by adjusting positions last week, which I think actually worked out pretty well overall. We now have to start exiting these positions that are in the money and at risk of assignment. That's mainly stuff that's on the call side, at least today. And all you have to do with these, if you have iron butterflies, in most of these cases, is just exit the call side. If the put side's far of the money, don't spend your time chasing that position and exiting the put side unless there's some value to those contracts. Because it's just not worth it to pay the commissions to exit them. You really need to get that in the money call side spreads off. So lots of closing trades today. The first one that we'll go over is DIA. We had two parts to DIA that we closed. We had two iron butterflies, two separately going. I kind of threw all of them together, for lack of a better term, because we had a lot of adjustments in DIA, and I really want to spend some time going through this because I think it's really, really important. I've got some additional notes I think you guys will find interesting, but really quick on like the totals of everything, then we'll go over step by step, because I really like, if you don't understand this, if you're having trouble through this expiration process with all the adjustments going out, I think this video will help out, and just kind of the logic, the thought process around it, and frankly why we do it, and why I tell people like this is a video that I think explains why the zero-sum game is not quite a zero-sum game. Everyone always looks at trades and they say, okay, I have 70% chance of winning, but 30% chance of this huge loss. But if you can reduce that loss, sometimes by 30 or 40%, it's not a zero-sum game, right? That's what starts tilting the odds in your favor. And so yes, it might be tough, it might be challenging to kind of keep track of all this stuff and know what you're doing, and I get that, but you have to do this because it's critical to your success. You don't have any control of the markets. We don't know where they're going, when they're going, wherever they're going. So what we can do, though, is we can adjust and reduce risk. And that's what I think, hopefully, I'm going to show you in this video. So in the case of DIA, we closed out of our call spread side, the 274 calls, the 255 calls. Again, bought those back for practically full value. I'll scroll back up here a little bit so you can see the other portion of it. And again, I totaled up everything for DIA here, which we were down about $874 on the whole DIA position. This other side of the call spread side, we bought back for full value, which was $10 just to get it filled. Sometimes you do actually have to do that. Full value, I mean, is the difference between the spreads. So in this case, the real big difference here was $10. And so if you buy it back for $10, it's better than, not buying it back and going through the exercise and assignment process and incurring all of those commissions. Now, in the case of DIA, and by the way, we had a huge reversal in the markets today, so we'll see where this goes, which is maybe just a little bit too late, but I think our P&L today, paper-wise, was, I think we were down like $800 when the market opened, P&L paper-wise, and then we reversed all of that, and we were up like $200 or so on the day. So about $1,000 reversal P&L-wise, just in the markets kind of reversing, and maybe a blow off top, who knows. But very, very interesting. And as I have mentioned before real quick, I think the big catalyst here was the dollar. The dollar continues to tank, and no one's talking about it. And I think that might be the big catalyst. But going to DIA here real quick, just so you guys see kind of the progression of where things go. I went back 70 days inside of my trading account, so you guys can, again, see all the trades that we're making. This is all legit and live, and this is my real account, right? And inside of here, you can see, and DIA is really clean, which is why we're looking at this, because it doesn't have February in there. We didn't do anything with February, unlike some positions where we had, overlapping months. This is all January, so you can see everything in here is January contracts. It's all pretty much sets of twos, or if the order was, split for a couple seconds, ones. But it's pretty much sets of twos all the way across the board. So you can see this was our original entry. We sold two different iron butterflies, two different ladder positions, 603, 411, and then we started making adjustments. And you can see we started making adjustments back on 1/5. So about 11 days ago, we started adjusting this position. And really every couple days, we started making more adjustments. So we sold and took in a credit. We started rolling up our puts. I mean, this is exactly what I teach in the course, right? We just roll up puts, rolled from in this case, the 247s to the 50s, then the 242s to the 48s, and the 48s to the 52s, 48s to 52s, 50s to the 52s. You can see we just keep rolling these things up and just rack in credit after credit after credit after credit after credit, okay? Now, the whole idea here is that when you total up all of these credits that we took in, and multiply them by the correct contracts over here to the right, so that way I don't get too many comments on the video, but you multiply them by the correct contracts over there, and you can see that for DIA, we took in a total credit after all adjustments of $13.58 per contract. That's pretty, or per or for everything, I guess, $13.58 for everything that we took in. So pretty big credits, right? Our initial credits on these things were actually much smaller, right? Was about, $10 or so. And so we were able to cut the loss by taking in these additional credits by about $680. So had we done nothing, had we just let the market go against us, said, oh, well, we don't care, adjusting's too hard, I don't understand this, I don't want to take the time to understand it, which is really all it is, just time to understand it and implement it, then we would have had basically a $688 loss greater than what we have right now. And so we were able, in this case, to cut the risk by about 40%. And that's huge. If you think about that, cutting the risk by about 40% is a significant amount. Imagine every trade. If you could cut every losing trade's risk, the initial risk that you have on that position by 40% or 50% or 30%, how much different you could be as a trader. Having a $1,500 loss is way better, or a $800 loss is way better than having a $1,500 loss. It's just all it is. And that helps reduce risk. Now, again, like I've said before, and I'll say a million times, we can't control the markets. Everyone tries to control the markets, even in environments like this. They say, I wish the market goes down. We need the market to go down and all that stuff like that, right? But at the end of the day, the only thing we can do is reduce risk. We can reduce risk by trading what the market gives us. Now, in this case, if you would have adjusted your call side position, you actually would have made substantially less money. You would have had a substantially higher loss because you would have adjusted call spread sides that kept rolling yourself higher and higher and higher. And basically, the market never turned around in a 2-month span. So you basically just rolled yourself into death. You took a loss for sure, then you rolled, then you took another loss, then you rolled, then you took another loss, then you took another loss, then you took another loss. You can't adjust the call spread side. You have to adjust and take what the market gives you. It's just 101 stuff. It really, really is. So go back and review those videos. Obviously, that might help out. So going back to DIA, like I said, we lost some money on there. We did make some money on our VIX debit spread trade, so we closed out that position, made $355. That was our bearish bet on VIX, which was more of a hedge for our portfolio, so that worked out pretty well. Obviously, we should have done a little bit bigger, but hindsight's 20/20, and we'll see where it goes. On the Qs, just to total up the Qs, we did have 2 exiting positions in the Qs. This is the first, the 154, 150, 164 call spread, and then going up to the top, you can see we had on the Qs, we had also the 159, 166 call spread as well. So same things going on with the Qs. We were able to, even though we took about $1,000 loss on the position, we were able to cut the loss considerably. If you add up all the credits that we took in on the Qs, we took in about $11.03 in total credits on the Qs, and then cut our loss by about $5, so about a 33% reduction in our loss. So where we could have lost about $1,500 realistically on the trade, or somewhere close to that, we were able to end up losing just about $1,000, which is a pretty big reduction in the loss. And again, look, there's nothing we can do about the Qs making a huge run, but we could obviously do and implement an adjustment strategy that reduces risk, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. So hopefully it helps out as well. So going back to some of these other positions here, so scrolling back up, we have the XRT position. We just closed out the call spread side. XRT I really would have liked to continue, but we do have a position already in February, so we're just going to roll with that one and add to it as needed. XRT also had huge reversal today in this thing. It basically ate up most of the gains that it had the last 2 days, so we'll see where this goes. I think retail is way overdone too, and we're going to play it that way. DIA we talked about. EM we couldn't roll for a credit, and we have a position already, so we just closed out the call spread side, 298 loss on that one. And then EWJ, this is one that we, again, couldn't really adjust. The adjustments here were just so crappy. We talked about this as elite members in the strategy calls. There really wasn't much room to make an adjustment and taking a significant credits. Unlike the Dow position that we had, where if you go to our position here with DIA, you were taking in credits, 57, 45, 85 cents for an adjustment. In EWJ, it was like $10. It just really didn't move the needle for what we were giving up. Ultimately, we ended up with a loss 489 on this. Just have to take those sometimes. We did close out a part of our EWI Iron Butterfly. This was one of our ladder positions. We took a profit on this 402. We still have a couple more contracts, I think, lingering in EWI that we have to basically manage at this point. Yeah, a couple more contracts. So we'll manage those here in the next day. I think that's really only the ones that are kind of at risk at this point. And then TLT has a couple contracts in the money, but TLT is sitting basically where we wanted to, so we're not really doing too much in that one either. But again, we'll continue to manage these positions as well as XLU. We've got some contracts that we want to roll in XLU for the next month. So again, we'll manage those probably tomorrow or so. We just didn't get any of those orders filled necessarily. And then the Q position we talked about. So I think that kind of wraps up. Again, the real crux here, and hopefully what you're getting away from this, is the adjustment style. And I don't know what other way to say it other than, just again, we can't control where the markets go, but we can control what we do with the adjustments. We can not add to losing positions. We keep our position size small. Even in DIA, I mean, you take a look at our position here in DIA, and you can see what we did. Like, we did not add to this position. We did the same two contracts that we had basically on each of the ladder positions rolling forward. We didn't add more put spreads or add more call spreads. We didn't do any of that. We just kept the position size small, kept it manageable. It's totally manageable for our account and what we needed to do, and really kind of saved off at least $1,500 in potential losses, I think, with all the adjustments that we made. So it was a good, I think, strategy. I mean, obviously it stunk that the markets made such a huge move and are now just starting to reverse, but look, sometimes you just have to trade through some of these environments. So hopefully that helps out. As always, if you guys have any comments or questions, let me know in the comment section. And until next time, happy trading.